Knuutti. The first ever episode of Sloppy Seconds. This podcast will be mostly sober conversation, especially with Stephen Black on here. We will be talking about sim racing, real life, and just anything in general. So let's get this party started. My first of two guests is co-owner of the SCSRA Iracing League and sole owner of Skylord Graphics. How you doing today, Stephen?
Hello, Brian. How are you?
Doing good. And my second guest is one of my favorite people, the leader and co-founder of Junior Nation and one of the chat band king himself, Brian Murrell Jr.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, buddy?
I'm doing good. Happy to be on.
That's good. That's good. So you just got off work, running a little bit late, huh?
Yeah, pretty busy getting all the haircuts in before Santa Claus comes to town.
What is it exactly that you do for our fans listening?
A barber, just an old school, old fashioned. Show up, get your hair cut. 15 minutes later, leave happy and guarantee it for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Do you have a Yelp? Do you have any reviews on there?
There's lots of reviews on there, yeah.
They're mostly positive, or what can I expect from a haircut at the McKinleyville barbershop?
Mainly mullets, right?
No, I do a lot of mullets. My uncle, who I also work with, he did a 2-year-old first haircut, and the guy asked for a mullet for his 2-year-old with just platinum blonde hair. I mean, the towhead of all towheads, blonde hair. And so, yeah, we do a lot of mullets, but, we got a clientele from, I've done as young as like 4 months old to 104 is my oldest.
Jeez, 104. That's old.
We have a 100-year-old that drives in, lives on his own. I mean, if you think that guy's got some stories, he does.
That's probably going to wind up being double my lifetime. I'll be surprised if I make it to 50.
Well, shit, you're almost there, aren't you?
Nah, I'm not. I still got like 15 years to go for that. But I will say, when I first met you, I did like when I saw photos of you and talked to you online and stuff like that, I legit thought you were going to be like a lumberjack or like a mechanic or something like that. When you told me you were a barber, I was like, "There's no fucking way this guy's fucking with me right now."
So I've done all of those jobs.
Okay, well there you go. It makes more sense. And I mean, obviously, if your family probably didn't own it, do you think you would have went into that, or would you have gone? Probably did something.
Oh, absolutely not. I have always had a hair phobia. Get a hair in my mouth, I gag and cough, and I don't like hair on me. But my grandpa is a barber legend, been a barber since like 64, and he still cuts hair to this day. He fills in when I'm gone, but he'll be 80 in February.
Oh wow!
But he's like a pillar of health. He walks 5 or 6 miles a day. He's donated like 103 gallons of blood.
5 miles a day? That's more than I walk in a month.
Yeah, he's super pillar of health. Doesn't take any vitamins. Doesn't take any Advils or any prescriptions or nothing.
Just eats healthy and probably doesn't drink that much.
He hasn't drank in like 60 years.
So he's like Stephen Black.
Yeah, I mean the last time he drank, he ended up underneath someone's house. Like hit like 8 parked cars and a couple of mailboxes, and then parked it into someone's house and decided that he would quit drinking.
That'll make you stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying. Speaking of your hair phobia, I mean, every picture that I've ever seen of you, you have a hat on, but it's kind of going away when you don't have a hat, so I guess it's a good thing for you. I mean, you have a beard, though, so that's kind of questionable.
Male pattern baldness runs in the family on both sides, so yeah. I mean, I've always wore a hat my whole life. My brother wears a hat. Even my dad just recently started wearing hats. So it's just kind of the thing.
When a bald dude comes and goes to cut my hair, I always question if he even knows what he's doing beforehand. Nothing against you, though. I mean, I'm sure you do great with your haircuts.
Well, I mean, what's your haircut like? Don't you have to have like a special? Well, let's talk about what you do for a living. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Don't you have to have like one of those Marine, or not Marine, sorry, but like an Army cut? Like a special can't be longer than X amount or something?
I'm sure he's got to be in regs.
Yeah, it does. So kind of a little more relaxed than a lot of people think. I usually keep my hair pretty long on top, and then a lot of people do like the medium fade or whatever, but now it's more or less a low fade and a tapered appearance. I usually go get a haircut probably like once a month, just because it's not really a big deal to me. I think it's kind of ridiculous that another grown man yells at you if your hair's not cut in the way it should be.
Oh, you're probably not allowed to have a beard though at all either, huh?
No, but I'm growing facial hair right now because I'm currently on leave.
Okay. What are you growing? Are you growing like a beard, a goatee, a little mustache?
Whatever grows in.
I'm picturing 1970s Ron Jeremy.
I can see Black with a porn stash.
Yeah, I totally could. Lifting weights 6 o'clock in the morning at the gym. I could see it.
I actually don't grow very much in terms of a mustache. It usually just grows on the sides and up underneath, and maybe a little bit of a stash, but nothing like Ron Jeremy.
So you're more like a thigh tickler, not a mustache ride guy?
Yeah, that's pretty much the.
Is that okay on the Sloppy Seconds podcast? Not really sure what angle we're going.
Oh, we could say whatever on this. This isn't like the Logan and Cody show, but even though we are on the Logan and Cody network.
Okay.
Nothing will get bleeped out unless you like say something like super horrible.
I mean, just look at the name, the Sloppy Seconds show. I mean,
that's kind of why I asked the question. I figured it, but you know what they say about assuming.
Wait till you see the logo. I'll have to send it to you guys. It's awesome. It's just me eating a pizza in a bed, just covered.
Oh, I think I've seen that, and your nipples were out.
Yeah. Oh, well, my nipples are always out. You got to attract the customers. You got to show them.
Are you eating watermelon in there? Because I distinctly remember you eating watermelon, kind of aggressively, a little drunk at the NASCAR race.
Oh yeah. Oh well, watermelon is delicious.
On hot days, cold days, rainy days, snowy days, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's always delicious. All right. So Stephen Black, let's get into what you do for a living. You jump out of perfectly good airplanes, defending our country, though. So thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you. I'm happy to serve. I've been in for like it'll be 9 years next June.
9 years.
Had a pretty good career so far. I've jumped out of multiple aircraft, upwards of 50 times. And it's terrifying almost every time until the green light comes on and you don't even think about it.
Yeah, just all your training just kind of kicks in.
Yeah, you turn into a robot, and it's really, really fun, like, when you're a jump master, because you get to stand up, and when they open the door, you gotta go do a door check.
So you're like the first guy, like you kind of tell everybody like what they need to do and like hook up and check and everything like that?
Yeah, you're the one that's guiding them through that, and then you're the last one out of the aircraft after everyone else exits.
Okay.
Push people out, they get kind of scared. You just give them a shove.
Well, I've always had the philosophy that there will be no jump refusals on my aircraft, so that's what I'm going to stick with.
Never to fly with you.
Has anybody ever passed out like under your watch?
No, but I know people who have had people pass out. I've got a lot of jump stories. If you're interested in me telling one that I heard about from a friend of mine who was on a jump.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So there are certain conditions that you have to meet in order to jump, or else you scratch the jump or cancel it. Like you have to be able to. The Air Force has to be able to see the drop zone, basically.
Oh, like if it's too foggy, too much, too many clouds or anything like that, they'll cancel it.
Yeah, they'll scratch it if they can't see the drop zone just because of the fog. And this is in Alaska. I don't know if anyone's ever been up there, but it might be kind of similar for Logan up in Canada. But in the wintertime, it gets extremely foggy at night, and it's difficult to see even like 10 feet in front of you.
I remember when I went to Alaska, I went during the summertime, and it was all like it never really got like fully dark. It was like that twilighty type, and it was just like 3 hours of like that, and that was it. And it was daylight the rest of the time.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Oh man, what was the name of that? Oh, Wasilla.
Oh yeah, I went there several times while I was up there. I was in Anchorage.
My brother-in-law was in the Coast Guard with Joe Wright, and they actually worked together. So my sister and my brother-in-law have moved all over the country. They've lived on the East Coast. They lived in Alaska, and I think that's actually where the end goal is going to be. Actually, is up in Alaska, and me and the wife might even head up there when we retire too. It's just so beautiful up there.
Yeah, I've always thought about going back. I loved it up there. So the story it's winter time, and the first time on target, like when we're supposed to jump, is like 10:30 at night. Well, we get inspected and everything, and you just sit there for about an hour and a half waiting to load the aircraft up. And I like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap. So I take a nap, and I wake up, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, what's going on? And I look at my watch. It's midnight. I took a nap at like 9 p.m. I started sleeping, and I wake up at midnight.
That's not a nap.
And
you're just sleeping at that
yeah,
point.
Yeah. It would have been a nap if we had loaded up at 10:30 or had dropped at 10:30, because we would have loaded up at like 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, they pushed the time on target to like 2 in the morning. I'm like, okay, well, why? And like nobody could give like any straight answers. I guess they were like trying to de-ice the runway so the airplane could take off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the airplane couldn't go because the runway was too slick. So they pushed the time on target from 10:30 at night to 2 in the morning. And the real kicker here, so when we showed up to jump that day, I think our first hit time was like 6 in the morning for pre-jump and all the other stuff you have to do beforehand. So by this point, we'd already been up for like 20 hours, and they finally get us loaded up onto the aircraft, and we get over the drop zone and we jump out. And I'm a bigger dude, and those parachutes, like they obviously the more you weigh, the faster you're gonna fall.
Yeah. What is the weight limit on those?
350 pounds, I believe.
Look at that. I can still jump.
But I have no reason to jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, me being 200, or the most I've ever weighed and jumped was 250 pounds. I'm screaming towards the drop zone every time when I weighed that much. There's actually a video on Facebook that one of my buddy's wives took of a jump that we did that I was the jump master on, and I was the last one out, and I was the first one on the ground. Like everyone else is like coming down, and like you see me at the end just zooming past everyone,
Did it hurt?
Yeah, it hurts every time. I like lay there for a second. I'm like, is this really worth $150 a month? Like, I mean, I get paid to jump out of airplanes, but my God, it feels like I got power bombed by the Undertaker or something every time I land, dude. Like, it doesn't matter like how I land either. It just hurts.
Man, I wonder if somebody like Logan, if they were to jump out with the parachute on, I wonder if he would actually ever land, or if just like the wind would take him off and he'd be like a balloon.
So I cover their airborne school for like all the new people coming through the course.
Yeah.
And we had a guy, he was tiny. He was probably about Logan's size or maybe smaller, but this guy comes out and we're watching him, and he ain't coming down. He's going up because he got stuck in a thermal, and the heat from the ground, it'll like push your chute up,
Yeah.
So he's stuck in a thermal, and they're trying to coach him out of it.
Coach him? How do you coach somebody out of that?
So you have to pull one of the risers on the parachute a certain direction if you want to go a certain way. So they're like telling him like pull a slip like it's always towards the center of the drop zone, just so they stay on the drop zone. Okay. Because that thermal will just take you. This guy, I don't know if he listened or if he was just having a bad day, but if I recall correctly, I don't think he ever pulled a slip to try to get out of the thermal.
So how long was he up there for?
He was up there long enough to go off of the drop zone and then into the neighborhood I lived into, which was probably about half a mile away. And when we found this, like we left the drop.
Real quick, was this at day? Was this during the day or was this at night?
This was during the day.
Oh, okay. It would have been funnier if it was at night.
But like once he left the drop zone, like we had no idea where this guy went.
Yeah.
Like, we had like this one.
Do you have any type of like radio communication or anything like that to try to like track the person down?
No. So like we get out onto the road like next to my neighborhood, and like driving around looking for this dude, And this redneck in this old white Ford pulls up, and he's like, "Hey, I think he like landed over there and on top of one of them houses or something." So we go into the neighborhood, and we're like driving around for him, and we see the parachute stuck on the house. This dude landed on a house, like while people were home inside the house. And like, if you've ever had like an animal like jump on your house or something, like just imagine a human being hitting your roof, and you're like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, that is fucking hilarious.
But so we find this guy, and apparently he like landed on the house, and then like fell off of the house and hit the ground. And it was a 2-story home too, so he like went limp and took it, man.
That probably hurt worse than your landings.
And luckily, like somebody was outside watching the jumps, and they saw him coming towards the house, and it was like next door or something, and because there was a power line that was leading up to the house, and his parachute almost got wrapped around the power line, which would have been terrible, because if he would have been on the ground or whatever, you know,
that would have been lights out for him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was real interesting. But
damn. Well, shit, that sounds like you got a pretty awesome career. So do you plan on like continuing that like as a whole career, or like as a lifetime career, or are you looking at like doing something else here?
Well, I mean, you could retire at 20 years. So I'm almost at 10. What's another 10? It's really flown by. I think the past 3 years especially have really flown by for me, because every day is like just seems to mesh together just because of the hours I work. Like I get confused on days all the time, and I don't even know what day it is about 3/4 of the time to begin with.
Yeah, you usually work some pretty crazy hours. You miss a lot of the races that you're part owner on the league on. And since we're talking about the league, this past week was pretty crazy. Actually, you missed Wednesdays, didn't you, Steven?
Yeah, I didn't run Wednesday. I completely forgot it was Wednesday.
Shit, that's
but I did run the trucks on Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw you run the trucks on Tuesday, and then Brian, you ran the trucks on Tuesday, and I was up in the booth announcing. Brian had a decent run going. Seems like he had a little bit of a run in with who was that, Michelle?
Yeah, dude, he just didn't turn. He went straight. And never once even mic'd up and was like, "Hey man, sorry, I hit a bump." It was a day later he told me he hit a bump. Like, come on, you get to destroy a guy's race. He's like, I didn't get into you that hard. My whole left side was wiped out. Like, I don't know if there was different internet issues. The way he hit me, it just destroyed my entire truck.
I know Daniel, when he made contact with somebody else, I think, in that race, and it was some pretty bad net code. So I don't know if it was like a connection issue with just maybe his internet or something like that. But I remember seeing
me 4 or 5
on
times
the stream
before that.
Oh, okay. Well,
and he kept saying he was giving me room, but he was literally like, as I'm driving, I could see his car inside mine. Like, he was hitting me that good. It is what it is. Water under the bridge now. But
that was Sylvan that Daniel hit the first time. And
okay. Yeah,
that led to the whole Eddie Morris thing. I've been giving him.
Oh my god, that was the best.
Like couple days.
That's gotta be the new wreckage. That, and actually when Junior and who else was that? Was that Gannon?
Yep.
You guys didn't even touch, and you guys literally started spinning out perfectly side by side. It was perfect.
That was the first time I got loose the whole race, and there was no holding on to it.
That was 2 wreckage rewinds right there for the Intensity Broadcast Group. But definitely the one with Eddie was just freaking hilarious, because Sylvan's sitting in the track, and you see Eddie coming. You're like, well, he's not going to hit. He just hit him. I mean, he slammed on the brake. He drilled right into him, and poor Sylvan, he had to use a toe to go to the pits. Nothing he could do. Flipped over on his roof. Oh, it was freaking hilarious.
I feel bad for Sylvan all the time. I'd be rich if I had $1 for every time I hear "Lucky Dog coming high" and it's Sylvan's voice.
I mentioned it after the race on Tuesday, but I think people are going to have to start paying Sylvan reparations for flipping him over, because this is the second week in a row he's ended up flipped on his roof, and it's just not going well for him this season in the trucks.
It's happened at least, I'm going to say, what, 3 times just this season to where he's had to get a tow because he got hit and like got stuck in some weird spot or flipped upside down.
There was more flips in Iowa between the truck and the Xfinity, than there was at any super speedway so far.
Yeah, Gannon, I think, on the last lap.
Yeah, Gannon flipped in the trucks too.
I mean, the way he hit the wall, it should have just been like a normal hit, and then he kind of like the truck turned just a weird way and just hooked and just kind of tumbled down, landed back on his wheels, and he's able to go back around and go full speed into the rest of the pack. But yeah, and I saw that on the broadcast. I'm like, all right, well, we're probably gonna have to hand down some penalties. And I started watching it, and I see the him do it. I see the 99 do it. Provolt owns up that he did it. I'm watching like 4 or 5 or 6, and after like the 6th one of like people just driving straight in, and I was like, I give up. So I just had to give like a little stern warning to everybody. Just, hey, like, slow down a little bit, because especially, like say somebody was slowing down for the wreck, like who was it? I think it was the 4 of Schroeder. He slowed down, and then the new guy, the 99, I forget his name.
Clint Stone.
Clint Stone.
I kept wanting to call him Keith Stone the whole time. But
yeah. So he just came up to it, and he probably didn't know the rule, and he just kind of turned right into him, and it would have it sucked for say Schroeder had a 0x going. Well, now he gets a 4x, and now he calls, he messages us to complain about it, and it just creates more work for me and Sylvan. It's just so much easier if just everybody just goes to pit road and calls it good. But yeah, so that
bonus
was
point for 0x, right?
Yes, 3 bonus points. So that was
man.
So that was the truck race. And the Xfinity race, you had a great qualifying lap. You were outside pole with me. I was on pole. That was my second pole of the year, both of them on short tracks. And the race was going pretty freaking good for me and Isaiah and you. You were in what? Like
I was in third.
But you actually stayed out during that caution, didn't you?
I stayed out. And I had just let Devin go by me because my tires were screaming, and he was a little quicker. And we were all in the same fuel. And he's like, "Listen, we should just stay out. This place sucks to pit. Like, you can't get on or off very easy here." And I had like 0.9 laps of fuel left, and the caution came out. You guys had pitted like 10 laps before that.
No, I pitted the lap before that. Gil pitted like super early. He pitted at like lap 50.
That's what that was. Yeah, I just stayed out. I was stretching it. I was coming in the next time, and I think it was Nick Ford got on the mic and was like, don't pit. Yellow's out. Yeah, I just shut the engine off and let it coast around until they opened pit road.
Yeah, I was just coming off pit road when that happened, and Isaiah pitted, and he was about 2 seconds or maybe a second in front of me when he pitted, and when I was coming out of the pits, he was just passing me. So, and I pitted like 5 or 6 laps later, so he must have did a horrible job getting on and off pit road, or he ran into traffic or something. But and then that caution came out, and it was just like, this fucking sucks.
Oh, it trapped everybody but like 9 people or something.
Yeah, and the highest I could get, I got back to the lead again, but I mean it's because I stayed out and nobody else.
And I was able to hold on to my tires. I just wish. So Devin and I were running like, I think we were first and second or first and third, and we weren't sure what to do with 40 laps to go, and the caution came out. And I kind of think we should have maybe waited one more caution, but you just never know. And so we opted to go in the pits, and I got hung up on, I think it was Cody Moore, Nick Ford, and one other car. They were racing 3 wide, and they were in between us because I came out like 17th. I went in like 3rd or something, came out 17th. And I just got stuck behind those guys trying to pass them. Tried to make it 3 wide with Will Witt and scared him a little bit. But, you got to get clean air on those short tracks or you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it was so hard to pit. I wish when that one caution came out, when me and Cody stayed out to take over the lead first and second, I wish we would have came in and just got 2 tires. I felt like we could have done something better than what we tried to do, because we tried to stay out and save that extra set that we had for a later run, but it was just too many cars on the lead lap and you couldn't pass even with fresh tires, and we weren't getting long enough green flag runs for the tires to wear off. So
Gil did an awesome job of saving his tires on the second run. I don't know how he did it running the bottom, because my tires were screaming and I don't think I ever touched the bottom of the track. So whatever he was doing was working.
I want to clear the air. So there's a really common misconception that running up high is going to save your tires more because you're not turning in, but you're also carrying more speed and generating more heat in tires, so they're going to be worse off than running low around the track.
Man, as hard as he was driving in, though, I felt like I was being easy on him.
Yeah, but it's also, you can also be kind of harder, longer, higher on the track. I mean, I was running the bottom the whole time, just because I was making the car roll, and the car was handling great, so I was running the bottom the whole time. But definitely, it was pretty easy to defend if you ran the high line.
I wanted to beat you on that opening lap so bad, and then I took it so easy off into turn 1, and you guys drove right by me.
Yeah, Iowa is really hard track as that, and it's really hard to get on pit road there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gil maybe messed up on his pit entry.
Yeah, he must have done something, because 6 laps, and we were, like when we were running, I had no traffic in front of me. I think we just put Josh a lap down, so he was right behind me, and I was just running kind of free laps. And then, so there was nobody in front of me, and he, on fresher tires, should have been at least a second and a half faster than me after 50-something laps. So he either got stuck in traffic, or, yeah, like you said, shitty, like bad pit road entry, or he's also usually not the greatest with like stopping in his box in the right spot. He always ends up with like a slower pit time, no matter what. It's weird.
Hey, Reggie, if you're listening to this later on, just remember your boy needs a better computer, because that thing sucks.
He can't even run all the graphics. You ever seen him like live stream his stuff?
No, it's so bad. It's so bad.
He has no stands, no pits, like nothing. Like there's no texture on the track. It literally looks like he's racing like NASCAR 1. You know what I mean? From
NASCAR 96.
Yeah, NASCAR 96 on PS1. You know what I mean?
The floppy disk version with Bill Elliott on the cover.
Oh,
it was 94.
Yeah, for the PC. Yeah, he's got just like the shittiest graphics, but like right now it's fucking impossible to try to get a computer. Well, unless you buy like a pre-set up gaming computer, which I'm just thinking about doing, just so I can, because just trying to find a graphics card is next to impossible right now. Because I'm trying
I got less than $1,000 into my entire setup. Like I might even have less than $800 in my setup.
I got a couple grand into mine just because of the sim rig itself, the seat and everything, which I actually not a huge fan of the seat. I need to change it because I'm too fat. I don't fucking fit in it. It was meant for like fatter guys, like bigger dudes, but I guess I'm bigger than those bigger dudes. So
is the big and tall section at Target, and yet 2X is the biggest you can find.
You're the biggest dude of the biggest dudes.
yeah, I'm a little bigger. I need to lose some weight though. Cause,
hey, it's a good thing you're short, because you sure aren't skinny, Knuutti.
Hey, I'm not that short.
I think he would have much rather have grown up and not out.
Yeah. So I raced last year at Sonoma Raceway, and then I had what was a 3S? Yeah, sorry, name dropping. Sonoma Raceway.
Toot the horn.
Yeah, so race there in like February, and we got another race coming up in February again at Sonoma Raceway. Anyway, so
is it Sonoma, like
it's
road
Sonoma
course, like NASCAR, F1,
exactly.
like all those? They got the drags there. Oh, yes. Tell us again how cool you are.
I'm basically like, have you ever heard of this guy named Larry Dickerson?
Oh, does he have one of those Ford Focuses?
He's actually a professional NASCAR driver.
He's got a NASCAR license. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And so basically me and him are pretty much on the same page, because I drive on the same tracks as NASCARs.
But do you keep pace?
Pace is subjective.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. You can actually read it in the new book that Montana 10 just put out. So anyway, so last February I had my fire suit, and it was a 3X, and it fit like okay, and then like 2 months ago, or I had a race last month, but like 2 months ago I was like, oh, I'll just make sure everything kind of fits, right? Well, I haven't been really like at work, we've been kind of like really slow, so I'm not moving around as much as like I normally am, and I put my fire suit on and I was like, oh, fuck, I can't zip this fucking thing up. Like, what the hell am I going to do? And I'm like trying to zip it up and I'm just like, dude, like fat guy in a little suit. And I'm just like, dude, this isn't going to work. So I had to rush order a new fire suit, the next size up, a 4X. It shows up and it's almost the exact same size as the other fire suit. I think they mislabeled it. So I freaking had to I ate like nothing but eggs for like a week just so I could fit into this fire suit. So the very first day, get to the track, put my fire suit on. I bend over to tie my shoes, and I just hear rip, and I go, no. And it ripped right in the crotch. So in the event of a fire, everything will be safe except my balls.
Except your giblets, huh?
But I already have a vasectomy, so they're kind of useless. They're just like Christmas ornaments anyway. They're just kind of hanging there. They don't do anything.
If you need a fire suit to get you by, I can ship you mine down.
Oh, I got no. It's fine now. It'll work, and I'm gonna have.
If you're worried they're gonna tell you that it's too ripped or whatever.
No, actually, right now they're not, just because of like COVID and shit like that. They're not inspecting people's fire safety equipment, which makes no sense whatsoever. They inspect everything else they inspect like helmets and or not helmets. They inspect the car and everything, but they aren't checking like your safety equipment. Just kind of like when you pull up, they make sure you got like, your Hans device on or whatever type of head and neck restraint device you got. And then make sure your seatbelts are on. You got your fully gloves and everything. And I don't even know if they check for shoes, because I saw some dude walking around in like loafers the other day.
Hey dudes apparently are the new racing shoe.
That's what that one dude
Tyler Carpenter.
Yeah, Tyler Carpenter. I do love his race interview. I can't wait to
his interviews are priceless.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him in the truck series.
I obviously don't do any real racing because I haven't been as financially blessed, I guess, to be able to do such a thing. But
neither have I. I just don't eat for a month.
Yeah, neither am I. My dad is financially gifted, and I just drive his car.
Hey, I drove my dad's car all year. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
But being on the topic of like being bigger and like racing, like I think I don't know if it was Gannon that commented on Junior's post on Facebook, but I don't know if it was directed at you, but Gannon was like, "Are you going to put custom doors that flip up on that thing so you can fit into the car?"
like a Lambo or like the Tesla?
I can explain this. So I have a race truck, mini stock. Won a lot of races in it. My dad bought in 2006 or 7, and
the 74 truck.
Yeah, gentleman who built it was about 70-something years old, short and round. He built what he called the Fat Man door, and basically it's about 6 or 8 inches of door that the window net's connected to, and it flips up with the window nets up, and it flips down when the window net's down. It makes for easy access for fat boys. I've always lived under the motto of, as long as my head fits, I'll get in. So I'm kind of like a raccoon, fat guy, the sides can kind of squeeze in a little tighter. The butt kind of pops in, and I'm in. So I don't necessarily need a Fat Man door, but it is nice.
Yeah, it's super nice. Like, I'm lucky I can open up my door to climb in the car, but I still struggle to get in because it's such a tight. It's a small little it's just a RX-7. Really small, compact car. So, it's hard for me to climb in that thing. And also, to the seat. We actually just bought a new seat because this whole time, I didn't realize I was sitting in like a 15-inch seat. When I used to race on dirt back in I don't know, 2005, 2004, when I used to race in dirt, I was using, and I was about 100 something pounds lighter. I was using a 16-inch seat. So I definitely didn't get smaller. I got bigger. So I'm not sitting down all the way into the seat. So I just ordered a new seat. It's 18.5 inch. So that way I can get in all the way.
That's bigger than I use.
Well, maybe I don't need it to be that big.
Oh, no, you'll be comfy.
Exactly. I'm looking for comfort. And I figured 18.5 inches. It'll fit in there, and then we can put the seat adjusters in there, because right now it's bolted down just straight to the floor, and all the drivers are different heights, right? So I'm not comfortable. The other drivers weren't comfortable. Nobody was comfortable driving the car. So now, we'll be able to bolt it down. I'll be sitting lower in the car so we can add in the seat slider, because before, when we had the seat slider in, I was like looking up and like where we have like this big giant visor window sticker. I literally couldn't, like, I was eye level with that, and my head was like an inch above the roll cage.
Yeah, that's safe.
Yeah.
You know, are you ever when you're like bending over, or if you're like crawling in the race car, do you ever feel like there's the wide load sticker on your ass and the beeper going off?
I always feel like people are laughing when I'm climbing.
Yeah, okay, same here. But
And
you know, I make it look good for a really big guy. Like I hop right in now these things. But there's sometimes I've been in and out of a car, or I had a car one time I was driving for a buddy, and he's like 5'6", 5'7", maybe 150 pounds, and I used his seat, everything. Like the only thing I changed was steering wheel size, and that was just because my legs were too big. Like I needed a 13-inch and not like a 17-inch. And getting in and out of that car was the absolute worst thing that I ever had to do in a race car. If I farted, I felt like the doors were blowing off.
So that's how I feel inside this car right now. But we're fixing that for this next race.
I think the only racing I've ever done has been on recreational go-kart tracks, like amusement parks. But
dude, I can't do the need to speed.
I weigh way too much for a little fucking lawnmower engine go-kart.
Where you hit the gas, it's like it's got the little governor on there, and you can only go so fast.
Yeah, and like of course, like me being heavier than everyone else that goes out to do that stuff, you know, like I can't be beating no 8-year-old kid, and I'm getting crushed every time I get onto a go-kart track. Because outweigh them probably by 120 pounds, so that little lawnmower engine on the back is struggling. Like, get off me, you big son of a bitch.
Well, that's when you wait until they pass
behind
you, put them in the wall.
Or you're reaching behind you and you're hitting the governor yourself, stretching out the governor spring.
At the Scandia go-kart tracks here up in Roto Park, way back in the day, you could actually reach underneath. There was like, you know, the little body that goes over top of it. You could reach underneath it because it just had a throttle stop, but you could reach underneath and grab the throttle cable and pull it, and then you go faster.
Yeah,
it's like a little, like a little push to pass button. You use it down the straightaways and stuff. You get ripping on those things actually pretty good. I think they got pretty hip to it. Yeah, I think they got pretty hip to it, and they're just like, nah, and they shut it. Then they change it and put it actually on the motor where you can't reach it.
Well, that, or they have the electronic slowdowns and speed ups.
That's what they have now. And well, now you got like the K1 Speed and Driven. I think those are all electric. At least the Driven one up in Roanoke Park, where I'm at around. That one is electric go-karts indoors.
Is that still around? I thought they closed.
No, yeah, they closed down. Right, I actually went there right before like the whole pandemic started.
Closed them down.
Yeah,
your fat ass got on the electric go-kart.
My fat ass broke the batteries. But we went there. It was like right before like they shut everything down for the pandemic. It was my birthday weekend. My dad and we all went there. We went to dinner at there's like an Outback Steakhouse in the parking lot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Elroy's.
No, no, dude, no. Oh, that's delicious. But we went to this Outback Steakhouse, and then we left Outback, and we went to Driven, and then just me and my dad hopped in. I think my wife might have done it too. I don't remember. And then my dad's girlfriend, we were just watching, or was just watching too, and we were ripping around, and they turned the speed up for us, all the way, because like, we were doing kind of good, but usually you got to like go back and again and again and again before they'll like bump the speed up for you. But it was just a couple of us, so they cranked it all the way up, and it was a blast. But have you ever been to K1 Speed?
I haven't.
Or is there any have you ever been to like one where it's like gas powered indoor ones?
No. There's one in Medford, Oregon that I want to go to. It's called Rogue Karts.
And it's gas powered?
Yeah, indoor.
Okay, yeah. So when I was in the UK, they had one of those over there, and that was a blast. You freaking fly on those things.
And you get carbon monoxide high. It's cool.
Yeah, well, they had big fans, kind of blew it out, but I mean, you still smell it and stuff like that, and it's weird. Because we're driving on the left side of the road, so we're doing, backwards.
Your crumpets and tea.
Crumpets and tea, yeah. I'll tell you what, it's the UK. They just have their food, their flavor. They don't even. I don't think any of them own a spice rack. I mean, it's horrible food. Their best food is
some
Indian
jalapenos.
some jalapeno. no, but like their spice section, I'm like seeing that they had like I forget what it was. I forget what type of store it was. It was essentially their version of like a Safeway. And I'm like looking at the spice rack and it's like salt, pepper, salt, pepper, salt, pepper, salt, pepper, and then it had like breaded mix for like so you can make your fish and chips. That's pretty much it. And like we wanted to make tacos and shit like that one night, but they don't sell like tortillas, so you had to buy like a whole like a taco kit, come with the seasoning, like pre-made taco shells and everything. And they also don't refrigerate their eggs over there.
You don't have to refrigerate your egg. Like, so egg comes right out, you can keep it out. If you refrigerate it once, then you have to refrigerate your eggs.
I did not know that, actually. I knew you didn't have to refrigerate them. I didn't know that it was like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they're good for like 40 days, not refrigerated, straight out of the chicken's ass.
Oh, but they last longer if you refrigerate them. Okay.
You can get like 2 months or whatever it is, 3 months, whatever the date is. But if you've refrigerated them once and you leave them out, then they go bad.
I legit did not know that.
You learn something new every day, Knuutti.
Yeah. All right. So, let's talk about the Cup Series Championship, NASCAR. How'd you feel about that? You didn't like Kyle Larson winning it?
No. Actually, I was way okay with Kyle Larson winning it, and I was okay with how his season went. I am just a huge Denny Hamlin fan. So,
oh yeah, he finished second again, right?
I finished third.
Oh, he finished third. So he's basically like me in the SCSRA. Yeah.
Yes.
Truex finished second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think they were 1, 2, 3, and then 5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Elliott really fell off at the end of the race, I think.
Yeah.
He was kind of running up front, but I think his pit crew got him out in a bad spot.
I mean, it is what it is. There's different strategies, but the 19 and the 11 had the best long-run cars the entire race. There was nothing matching their speed after a long, long run. And Kyle Larson just hit it on the head. Their team killed it again for a 10th win. I mean, and there was a couple races he gave away on his own, or a part malfunction, or maybe at Talladega they shouldn't leave the warming pan in the radiator there. Maybe he would have won that race. Who knows?
He's not really a super speedway driver.
No, he's not. No, he likes to go upside down at super speedways.
Yeah, he does, or into the catch fence.
Or into the catch fence, yeah.
But Atlanta. The first Atlanta race, I think he burnt his stuff up too quick. And Blaney went around him, and then the whole Pocono thing. He could have had 12, I think. I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But
same could be said for Denny though too. I mean, the 22 ruins his race at Richmond. The 14 ruined his race at Indy. The 48 ruined his race at Martinsville. So I mean, and he gave away a couple on his own. That's racing right there. You just never know.
Well, Larson, if he doesn't blow that tire too at Pocono, that was the weirdest one.
Yeah, that was like 1 in a million. Like you would never like.
Yeah, as he's going down the backstretch, it's just like I'm like watching. I'm like, fuck, that tire looks low, and then all of a sudden, like it's just boom. You just see sparks flying everywhere, and I forget who was calling that race. Last corner, he was just bouncing it off like a video game, and still trying to, and he still finished in the top 10, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, how about his? He showed that he was going to do whatever it took to win a race, even though he had like 6 at the time. At Darlington, when he sent it in there into the back of Hamlin on the last corner. I mean, he rode that wall. That showed so much heart that he wanted to do whatever it took to win. He didn't care.
If Hamlin goes low and doesn't like really pay too much attention in the mirror, Larson has a damn good shot of coming out side by side off the 4.
Oh yeah, and then their 2000 Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven, 2002, something like that.
Oh yeah, that was great when he was driving the Tide ride, and then
it was Tide and Sharpie. Yeah,
yeah, Tide and Sharpie. Yeah, which one cleans the other? Which is one of our sponsors today, Tide. I'm just kidding.
I think he was in the Rubbermaid car in that race.
Yeah, he may have been Rubbermaid. Yeah, but he was in the '97 car.
Yeah, it was Rubbermaid Sharpie pretty much every week. He was always one of the two.
Mr. Black has to come in and correct us.
Yeah, Mr.
I apologize.
he probably Googled it to make sure, just so he can be smarter than us.
You see that picture of that finish so many times, you kind of like really don't forget,
Well,
Yeah,
we were
that's
all
true.
like, I think I was 10 when that happened. So Knuutti was probably 13.
I'm also
And,
pretty sure that that was Pontiac's last win in NASCAR.
you are probably correct. Yeah.
I
I think they
believe.
left the sport the next season because
Yeah.
that was 2003. I don't think they were in NASCAR in 04.
Well, who was it? Switched over to Chevy after that. Well, yeah, whatchamacallit switched over to Chevy after that.
Gibbs.
Gibbs, yeah. Yeah, and then when they switched to Toyota, then Toyota's or Chevy was talking to that was kind of one of the main. If Gibbs never goes to Toyota, does Tony Stewart ever create Stewart Haas? I don't think so personally. I think he drives that 20 his whole career.
I think it's a lot like the Keselowski and
Well, okay, so he might have done something later down the road. But I think that because Chevy kind of pressured him into that, right? Because Chevy was like, "Hey, man, like we sponsor, like we're the engines for all your dirt teams, like what are you doing here? You're gonna switch over to Toyota." So he's like, "Oh, okay." So then he kind of found a Chevy team because it pretty much had to be a Chevy team that he went to.
yeah, that may be.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's what happened. I'm huge Tony Stewart fan. So
what do you think is going to happen at now? Former Roush, now RFK, are they going to bring back Dodge? Because Dodge and Keselowski have big ties, but Chevy and Keselowski also have big ties. But
Chevy
Roush and Ford, yeah, Keselowski was on loan to Penske from Junior Motorsports, and then he just ended up staying there.
Yeah, well, I remember he came over kind of like a part-time thing, and then the whole thing with who's that?
James Finch?
No, Allgaier.
Oh,
and then that kind of shuffled everything around, and then it moved. Or am I talking out of my ass?
I know Allgaier ended up in the Phoenix car.
Yeah,
which was like a Hendrick supported team, I think.
Well, no, because Allgaier, or not Allgaier, sorry, Allmendinger. That's what I'm thinking. Because Allmendinger was driving the 22. And then was Brad Keselowski driving the 2 at the time, or was he driving the 12? Because remember, he drove the 12 when he first came into the series?
Well, yeah, because the 2 was still no, the 2 was nobody at that time. The 2 went in like hiding for a little while, didn't it?
No, I don't think the 2.
The 2 never stopped racing.
When did Rusty Wallace retire?
Allmendinger was in the 22, and Brad was in the 2.
Okay, so then the 12 was Ryan Newman.
Because Keselowski went to the 2 and Kurt moved to the 22, and then Kurt
Busch
had his meltdowns over at Penske, and they moved him over to Phoenix Racing, and Allmendinger was in the 22. Because Kurt got moved to the 22 in place of because Keselowski moved into the other car.
The 2. Oh yeah. So Kurt Busch was driving the 2, and then Okay, yeah. Okay, that's all making sense to me now. Yeah. So basically, the whole reason he got moved into the 2 was because of that whole shuffle with what's his name? No, Kurt Busch was driving the 22.
Kurt Busch was in the 2, and then when
went to the 22,
yeah,
and then he went to the 22, and then that put because he was in the 12, and then he went to the 2, and then it was just the 2 of them, the 12 or the. I don't think the 12 was racing any. I think they shut down the 12.
Yeah,
and then
they had it was 2010 that because Keselowski replaced David Stremme.
Yeah. Oh, David Stremme. Jesus. Yeah.
What a basket case.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. I do have one question which I'm gonna ask all my guests all year long, or whenever I do my shows. Right?
Yes, your butt looks extra big in them jeans.
Perfect. Thank you. But that actually wasn't the question. The biggest question, which we all need to know, is do you think that Cody does sit to pee?
Of course. Have you ever heard him? His logic, his arguments? I mean, come on.
I think he's
it's the brain of a female.
What do you think, Steven?
I think he sits to pee.
I believe it.
I mean, I don't have any reasoning behind it, but he just seems like one of those guys.
I feel like also too you're going to make less of a mess.
But, I mean,
because he's a messy guy, maybe he's trying to make less of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need to pop a squat, like.
Hey,
yeah.
Anybody who gets the wave around and thinks that they get to go ahead of the lap down cars sits to pee.
When did that happen?
Right, and I want that to be on air, and I want him to hear this.
It'll be on air.
When did
At
that happen?
Martinsville. Martinsville.
No, it wasn't Martinsville.
Yeah, it was. It was Martinsville.
Okay, it was Martinsville. And on that note, I want to thank the both of you
Trust
guys.
me, I remember.
I want to thank both of you guys for being on the show today. Thank you, Junior, for showing up on the show, and thank you, Stephen Black, for being the stand-in because Isaiah Gill decided to not show up today, so he's a flake once again, essentially spinning out just like he always does, like in the iRacing. So thanks again. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all your haircuts there, Brian.
Yeah, hey, I'm honored to be on the show with both you guys. Thank you, Stephen, for everything you do. Knuutti, keep bottling that dick wine.
All right, thank you.
Chicken, frogs, cats, and dogs. We all get off. We all need tools. There's a place where you can find the tools you need just off of McDowell Boulevard in Petaluma, California. Come now, because if you ain't first, you're last. And that's called sloppy seconds. January 5th, 2021, Knuutti says, hurry up. Let's go.